it is exactly 7 p.m. My name is Virginia Dahl. I am coming to you from Bowie, Maryland, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have been a demonstrator for 20 years as of August of 2003, and I am excited to share with you tonight some items from our annual catalog. If you were here earlier, I was showing that to you. I always try to get on a little bit early so I can try to get my Facebook thing up so that I can see that. But anyway, this catalog is ongoing through April of 2024. And I had mentioned earlier that there is also a, an upcoming mini catalog that will be focused on holiday events. And that will be available to customers in September, early September, but we will be able to pre-order those items starting August 2nd. So I'm excited about having the opportunity to look at those things and order ahead. We get a chance um, to create with those products before we are sharing them with customers. So that helps us kind of get a leg up and know what we need to do and get things prepared for classes and courses and so forth. All right, so today we're going to take a stamp set from the annual catalog. Excuse me, I'm trying to deal with allergies today. And it is the Gone Fishing. It's actually the Let's Go Fishing bundle. And I'm going to have to show it to you in two different pages here. It's the suite. I really do love these examples that they gave us, and one of which you will see because I made this example, but I'm not going to try to demonstrate that because this is pretty um, in my book, I consider it labor intensive. I enjoyed making it, but it would take a while to do all. It took a while to get everything together to do that. Is designer series paper, which I will show you in just a few minutes. The bundle is Gone Fishing, and that includes the name of the stamp set and the name of the die or the dies. And I think you'll see that it's really a really super um, masculine type of stamp set. So that's on page 78 and 79 of our annual catalog. All right, don't forget we have ongoing right now until the end of July, which is coming up fairly quickly here. Next Monday, as a matter of fact, we have the bonus days where you can, for every $50 that you spend, and that's before tax and shipping, you will earn a $5 coupon. That's here in the United States. You'll earn a $5 coupon, and you can earn as many of those coupons as you want to. If you did $150 in product, you would earn 3 coupons. And there's a coupon code that is sent directly to you. Hold on to those codes because you can use those codes to spend them in August, the 1st through the 31st of August. So those are free product for you. So that in addition to if you order $150 or more, you still get your Stampin' rewards as well. So you could be double dipping, so to speak. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at in the Gone Fishing suite. I was looking through Pinterest and looking in the catalog at the various things that are available for us to see as examples and so forth. And I was inspired by a person named Susan Horr, Horr. I hope I said that right. And her website is www.susanstamps.com. She made a card very similar to this one, or I made a card very similar to hers. I changed it up just a little bit, and I made it a retirement card rather than a happy birthday or a Father's Day card. So there you go. That's the card that we're making tonight. There, as you can see, I used dies, but I also used, I fussy cut images out of the designer series paper. Said I was going to show you that designer series paper, and let me do that in just a second. Here is the stamp set. It is a photopolymer stamp set. I love the fact that you can look right straight through the stamps and let me see if I can show that to you. It's a little bit easier. There we go. And you can see the placement of your stamps. Okay, so that's photopolymer, which means I need to use my paper piercing mat to give that little extra little cushion for my stamps, so I get a better, more crisp image. And this is how the inside, they provide a nice guide for you with pictures of the actual stamps, and you can just stick them inside your stamp case, and they don't go anywhere. They stick right to your stamp case. The dies are the Gone Fishing dies, and I think you can see, especially when I show you the cards that I've made, that I've used many of these dies. I used this one. It was many of these. I think there were only like 2 or 3 that I did not use. This is the outside of the tackle box area. These are the little pieces of the tackle box, or the compartments in the tackle box. Yes, I think you can see that. So very good. And of course I keep all my extra little pieces in here so that I can have them to use for the next card that I decide to make. So that's Gone Fishing. I also decided to use a embossing folder on the top of the card, and I used the Splatters one, which looks like this. These are the small embossing folders. These are 3D embossing folders. These fit in the mini Stampin' Emboss machine, as well as the big one, but I thought this looked like kind of like water, so I decided to try to use that to kind of give the impression of water bubbles or whatever behind the water that I had on the stamp. And then I used the Oceanfront photopolymer stamp set, and I used this stamp that is like seaweed or grass, seagrass, that you would find in a lake or in mostly probably in a lake, but partially in the ocean as well. So there's that. And let's get to that designer series paper. Okay, first of all, let me talk to you just a second about the colors that we've got coming here, and I'm going to try to do this and give you a view of that and name all of these off, and hopefully I have them in the right order here. Okay, okay, here we have Boho Blue. Then we have Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Pebbled Path, Pecan Pie, Petal Pink, and I've stuck in here Very Vanilla and Wild Wheat. Those are the colors that are in the designer series paper. You can see that either way. Those are all the colors. Pretty nice neutral card colors. Okay. Here is the designer series paper. And again, I'm going to try to see if I can put this up so that it's not too, I had it arranged here. Yeah, 6 sheets, 12 sheets, double-sided. Let's see, here we go. Here's what we have. Hopefully you can see this. Push this over to the side here. And give you a little bit more of a view. All right, now that's one side, and I think you can see the fish and tackle, or the tackle, I don't know what they call it, the bait hooks. There's the water, there's fishing rods here on this one. This one's just a bunch of swimming fish. All right, so let's go to the other side. And this is what we have on the other side. Okay, so I think you can see that's pretty nice and generic, and you can do all kinds of things with this. This looks like it's Misty Moonlight, that color of woodwork or boards. This looks like it could be a net of some sort. This is a map. All right, again, a nice checkered pattern, stripes, and another gingham type pattern. Okay, like you might find on somebody's flannel shirt. Okay, so that's the designer series paper. All right, so let's go back and look at those cards one more time, that card one more time, and let's talk about what we're using in this card, or what the materials that we need. Of course, we need our envelope, and again, I try to cut out all these things so that we have them, and you'll be able to not spend time watching me cut things out, but you'll be able to see them very well, and be able to see exactly what I'm doing with putting the card together. All right, you'll need a piece of, let's go with our card base here. Let's do that first. All right, our card base is Misty Moonlight. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. So that's our card base. I always like to get my bone folder out in case I need to recrease that edge there. All right, and then we have a layer, and this is the Boho blue, and this is the one that I used that splatter stamp or splatter embossing folder on. And it's, it was the narrow one, so I just put it across the top part, which is what I knew would be exposed, and that what you would see that wouldn't be underneath the other paper that I'm using. This is 4 by 5.25. There is a very vanilla insert that is, again, 4 by 5.25. I guess this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's slightly larger. This goes on the inside of the card, and I've already gone ahead and stamped this little piece right here. This is one of the stamps. Now, one thing I need to mention to you about the stamps, and I almost forgot it, I don't know if you notice that there are darker pictures here. This is a 2-step stamping set, so that this fish, you stamp this fish, and then you stamp this to color the insides of that fish. You stamp this outside shape, and you stamp this inside so that you have a design on that. This part goes with this this part of the fish, this lure. This feather piece goes with this, and this little piece for this bobble, or the weight, or whatever they call this piece, this goes on the bottom of that one. There's a little stamp on here that could kind of give you the impression of water or movement or kind of a texture in the background thing. But I love the fact that the words on this stamp set, Happy Father's Day, Happy Retirement, Congrats, Good Things Come to Those Who Wait, and So Glad You're My Dad. It's a pretty versatile one. I really do like this. And you could use this for any number of occasions. So just wanted to make sure that you understood that that's what those extra stamps are for. They are to color in the outline shapes that are part of the stamps. Okay, the designer series paper originally was 3 3/4 by 5. I did cut it down and use one of the the die, which is this die right here. I used that, and when I cut it out, I did it, on the paper, and it gave me that ripple effect that kind of looks like water. And this reminded me of water, so I did that as well. I used that piece as well. It's the same one I think that Susan used. And Susan did the same thing. She did something different with a different dye at the top. She used the Mossy Meadow ink and did use that dye, or not that dye, the stamp from the Oceanfront that stamps the grass. And that was at the bottom of her image, for her image on the front of the card. In addition, you're going to need scraps of Very Vanilla to do your to do some stamping on, and I did some stamping here with Very Vanilla and stamped my greeting as well. This is for my background piece for my layer behind my greeting, or my sentiment. And then I cut out from the designer series paper that you saw the fish, and I wanted them all going pretty much in different directions. And so that I was able to achieve. This one, because it is blue, I decided to pop it up a little bit more than the others because it blended in too much to the designer series paper. So there are all the pieces that we need. So let's go ahead and start putting this card together. And if there are any persons watching this, any people watching this who would like to see me do things like use the cut and emboss machine, or use it to show you how I do my die cutting, or how I cut my paper trimmer, or my scoring board, or any of those things, let me know in a comment that you want to see me do those things, because I can take the time to do that. I'm just kind of making not necessarily an assumption, but I'm just kind of thinking, well, you probably, if you're watching this video, you may already know how to do some of these things. A couple of things I want to share with you when I get to the various pieces. Well, maybe I need to do it now because I may not remember later. This is in two colors. I think you can see that. One of these colors is Pebbled Path. And I used the Stampin' Right marker, the brush tip end, to color in on the stamp. And let me find my stamp. Okay, this one right here. To color in on the stamp right here. And that was the hook that I was making this color. Then I wanted to make the feather piece a green color, so I used the Mossy Meadow, again using the brush side. When you do that, you color the image on the stamp, then you huff on it, or just kind of blow warm air on it, and that keeps that moist. By the time you finish coloring it, it may have dried out a little bit, and so that little extra bit of moisture helps you make the image melt into the paper better, I think. So that's what I did with this particular stamp. Okay, and let's see. That's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's add, and I use my Stampin' Seal to add my insert to the inside of my card. I always have my, I don't know what we did before. Well, we made messes, I think, before we had this silicone mat, because we were always getting this tape runner, the adhesive was always on our grid paper, and it made it very difficult to keep it clean, and then it kept getting on the cards. And so this silicone mat helps keep that from happening, because the adhesive gets on the silicone mat, but it doesn't get on your card. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Remember, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to give me just a little tiny border all the way around. So let's hope I got that fairly straight. Okay. All right, so that's the inside of the card. Now we can do any number of things. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the front of the card. And I have a new glue bottle, so I'm hoping I don't get too, and I'm using two, yeah, see, that's already coming out a little bit more than I want. Yeah, there we go. I'm using a pretty strong adhesive because I'm putting a, a piece of paper that has been embossed on another flat piece of paper. And I need to make sure that it sticks, and you need a stronger adhesive to be able to do this. Now this is going to have a nice, there we go, edge all the way around. I believe that looks pretty good. Okay, and with the glue I can move it around just a little smidge before it sets in. All right. Okay, and then we're going to build on this little guy. Let's go ahead and do this pretty much as possible. Again, I'm going to use the glue. I just tend to use glue more often than not. Sorry, you can't see that if I pull it down here. I'm trying to barely squeeze my glue bottle. And I use the tip of my glue bottle to help me spread this out a little bit so that it's not like a glob. All right, so I'm going to put that here. That big fish is going to be on the bottom, trying to avoid the hook up here. Okay, and then we're going to take our other kind of medium-sized fish and put him right here, him or her. Okay. Okay, let's pull some of that glue out a little bit. Just a little bit of this glue goes a long way. So I'm going to do that like that. Okay. All right. And then finally, I'm going to use my mini glue dots. I'll pull those up here. And this tiny little fish here, I'm going to put over and going in this direction. And, you know, on that designer series paper, there are many fish, and they're going all over the place. But it's nice to be able to alternate the direction that these guys are going on. So I'm going to put these here. Let's see. Okay. And I don't get overly ambitious with the dimensionals. Okay, there we go. I need to leave some room over here for my hook, which we will put on in just a minute. So now we've got that part done. Okay, and you remember I stamped with the Mossy Meadow stamp from Oceanfront. Okay, I'm just going to take this and keep myself just a little bit. Okay. As I said, this glue bottle hasn't gotten used to me yet. Okay, now again, because of using the partially, okay, this one is, there's a nice border on this because of using a partially embossed piece. I needed to make sure I had a really good adhesive so that would stick to that paper. All right, now we have our retirement piece. I'm going to put this on here while I have my glue out. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to put this over to the side a little bit because I want some space over here so that I can wrap some of my linen thread around that. Have plenty of room there because I want it to look like it's fishing line that is wrapped around the sentiment. Okay. And I will be popping this up on dimensionals in just a few minutes. But here's the linen thread. This is something I use quite a bit, quite often. Oh yes, can I do oops. Okay, now I don't really have a length. I just started wrapping around, and I did go ahead and I pulled right away from this. I pulled one of my, oops, there we go, glue dots. So here is my glue dot. I just pull right straight off of that. I want to put this on the back here because I know I'm going to need to glue down my, and I think you can see that. There's the glue dot. All right, and I'm going to start like this by wrapping this around. Wrap this around 2 or 3 times, and each time attaching it to the glue dot as much as possible. All right, and one more time, I think. There, okay. And let's see, you can see that that glue dot pretty much keeps that, and it's less messy, I think, than using the glue. Or you could use your snail or your seal if you wanted to. Now I'm just going to kind of leave that. I think just a second. I'm going to leave that a little bit, but I want to make sure I got this kind of twisted. I want it twisted. I want it to kind of look like it's that way. All right, so I'm going to take my dimensionals and use these on my piece, and I'm going to use one of my dimensionals to anchor down that twine or that linen thread a little bit more, and then this. Okay, now this one is just a tiny little bit more tedious than I usually have it, because it's still connected to the twine, because I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to need. All right, so here's this piece. Let me get this as straight as I possibly can. So we're going to put that here at the top. Happy retirement. All right, so that thread is not going to go anywhere, but I do want to have some thread, and I can always cut that off. So let me pull my scissors out here. We're going to do a little bit of work with this one. Okay, because I'm going, there we go. Let's just hope that's enough. All right, now this one again, I used a few more glue dots on because that just helps me anchor things, and I just find, for me anyway, it works and makes it just a little bit easier. So I'm going to put something down here, a glue dot down there, and then pull off another glue dot, and I'm going to attach, there we go, that to that, and I may in a minute get yet another glue dot when I wrap it around up here. And what I'll do, yeah, let me go ahead and do that, because that's what I'll do is I'll take this and I will, usually I use my fingers, just take it and wrap it around here, and I make it into, I roll it up basically into a little roll like that. I think you can see. Okay. Then I'm going to stick that right here on the top, right where this bulb part is on this lure. Okay. Now that's there for a reason. I have 2 other there as well, but I'm going to be wrapping this around as much as I can. Let's see. Just kind of wrap this around the top. Just keep wrapping it. There we go. And I want to make sure that stays in the background back there. Okay. And then I'm going to use, I just want to make sure that stays. I need my dimensionals again. And I'm going to put a dimensional right here. And you could probably use more dimensionals than I do, but that's fine. Okay, and then let's do that like that. All right, so maybe we have, and I might put, there we go. That's working. Okay. And that is our card right there. Happy retirement. Okay. Okay, very good. All right, so that went together fairly quickly. And again, it would have taken us a bit longer if I had cut out all the pieces and stamped all the pieces while you were watching. But I try to make my videos as short as possible so that you can just see how the card goes together, see the elements that I used, and if you do have questions about how I did various things, please put a comment, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. You can also message me if you're interested in any more information. My goal is so that you can see this card, so that you can, perhaps you have a fisher, a card with fishing lures and fish and whatnot. If you don't, but maybe kind of get an idea, but also to show you these new products that are available, and to give you the opportunity, if you would like, to purchase these from, if you have a demonstrator, or if you don't have a demonstrator, you could purchase them from me. And this is my demonstrator website address. I'm from Stampin' Up. And it's the stampingup.com website. But this address, the HTTPS, that takes you directly to my online store, and then you could search for the products that you wanted to find. So that way, and this is the Gone Fishing, or the Let's Go Fishing suite of products, which includes the dies, stamp set, and the designer series paper. Okay, so here is that, and I'm going to move and show you a couple more examples of cards that I made. This design that I'm going to show you next is a card design that I saw demonstrated this past weekend at a Creativate retreat. Now, that's a retreat that is put on by Sharon Armstrong, Jackie Boheis, Brandy Cox, and Connie Stewart. Yeah, those three ladies have, or four ladies, have done that for a number of years, and actually this was their 14th retreat. And so what I did was I made a card like she did, like Sharon did, Sharon Armstrong, and I used the designer series paper. I used the some dies and some designer series paper on this one. These two are die cuts. This was cut from the designer series paper, and I thought this was kind of cute. This is a gift card holder. I don't currently have a gift card in it, but you slip the gift card inside this slot right over here. And so I thought that was appropriate. Good things come to those who wait. And, you know, your fishermen are notorious, not notorious, but very patient people. And so, but that also has a good thing right here in the gift card. So that was my thinking behind that piece. All right, and now the other piece that I'm going to show you is the one that I was talking about earlier that I had so much fun making, but it is very involved, and I, just because I love making involved cards every now and then. The card base is very vanilla, but I did use the designer series paper. This is very much like, maybe changing a couple colors here and there, but very much like the one that was in the catalog on page 78, I believe. So this is the tackle box, and you can see a little bit of the background stamp that I used behind these uh, images, and I embossed this in Happy Birthday. I did use our adhesive strips that we use when we're making shaker cards. So there is that. And then I just did a little bit more on the inside of this one. Um, we do have the Very Vanilla comes in regular weight cardstock, but also a thick Very Vanilla. And at the time, I didn't think to use the very thick Very Vanilla, and that would have made the card a little bit more sturdy. But I used the designer series paper to help me make the card a bit more sturdy. Putting more layers on it made it a bit more sturdy than and not quite so flimsy. And then I used that same stamp with the lure on it. This time I did not change the color on it. I just made it all Pebbled Path. And this is done in Pebbled, the main color here is Pebbled Path, Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of the black baker's twine back here in the back on these two items. Okay, so that's what I did. And I hope you enjoyed looking at that and seeing that. I'm actually excited about being able to have these in my, and send these as birthday cards and gift cards and retirement cards for folks. And I hope you do enjoy looking at this. And it was really a lot of fun using this stamp set. Okay, so what I will do is I will let you go, because very shortly we'll be finished with this, and we are finished with this. And I wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to look. That's in our annual catalog on pages 78 and 79. The Let's Go Fishing suite of products, but the bundle is the Gone Fishing bundle with the stamp set, the photopolymer stamp set, and the die set. And both of those are called Gone Fishing. So that makes it a little easier for us to have to remember only a couple of names rather than with a whole bunch. I believe the paper is also called Let's Go Fishing. Yes, it's called, and it's 12 by 12. So I always put the measurements for the card in the comments, and I will do that for you just as soon as I end this video. So thank you so much, and take care. I'll see you next week. I believe that will be August. I will be doing, yes, August 1st. Take care, and have a good week. I'll see you next week on August 1st.